In the next few minutes, we are going to cover 3 breaking developments out of the ongoing American and Israeli military campaign against Iran, all unfolding on this 10th day of March 2026. First, new details about the United States using ballistic missiles to sink Iranian warships. Second, a direct death threat against President Donald Trump issued by one of Iran's most powerful security officials. And third, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth announcing that today is the most intense day of airstrikes against Iran since this war began. Stay with us. The United States military has confirmed the use of HIMARS rocket artillery systems to attack Iranian Navy vessels as part of Operation Epic Fury, and what is being reported now changes the entire calculus of modern naval warfare. General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, told reporters at the Pentagon this morning that in the first 10 days of this operation, American forces destroyed 50 Iranian warships using a combination of artillery, fighter jets, bombers, and sea-launched missiles. When pressed on what artillery meant in that context, a U.S. official confirmed to the war zone that HIMARS launchers were used against Iranian naval targets. The munitions documented in official CENTCOM footage are the Army Tactical Missile System, known as ATACMS, and the newer Precision Strike Missile, known as PRSM, both short-range ballistic missiles. The PRSM made its combat debut in this conflict, and that is a significant milestone. The ATACMS can reach targets up to roughly 300 kilometers away. The PRSM extends that range to at least 500 kilometers, and here's where it gets critical. There is mounting evidence that a variant of the PRSM capable of striking moving ships may already be deployed. In 2024, the Army successfully hit a moving maritime target with a PRSM in a Pacific test exercise. A 2025 Pentagon testing report confirmed 2 such firings. Whether the full anti-ship Increment 2 variant is operational in theater remains unclear, but the implication is enormous. What we are witnessing in the Persian Gulf right now is the first confirmed use of ballistic missiles by American forces against enemy ships in actual combat. Iran, ironically, pioneered this exact capability years ago, and the Houthis in Yemen were the first in the world to fire anti-ship ballistic missiles in combat back in 2023. Now the Americans are doing it back. The message being sent extends well beyond Iran. Every military planner in Beijing is watching this closely because the PRSM is widely discussed as a key asset in any future high-intensity conflict with China in the Pacific. What is being tested and proven in the Persian Gulf today is a preview of American warfighting doctrine for the next decade. While American missiles were hitting Iranian ships, something else happened on Tuesday that demands attention. Ali Larijani, Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council and one of the most powerful figures inside the clerical regime in Tehran, issued a direct threat against the life of President Donald Trump. His words were unambiguous. He told the American president, and we are paraphrasing here to preserve the meaning, "The Iranian nation does not fear your hollow threats, and you should be careful not to be eliminated yourself." This came in direct response to Trump's post on Truth Social, in which the president warned that if Iran blocks the Strait of Hormuz, the United States will strike Iran 20 times harder than it already has, and threatened that death, fire, and fury would reign over the country. Larijani is not a peripheral figure. He is a former Revolutionary Guard commander with decades of influence inside the system. The fact that a man of his standing is openly threatening the American president with death tells you everything about the current temperature inside Tehran. The regime is under enormous military pressure. Its supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, was killed in an airstrike on the first day of this operation. His son, Mojtaba, was named as his successor, a decision Trump explicitly criticized, saying he was not happy about it and calling it a big mistake. Tehran, rather than capitulating, is escalating its rhetoric. That is either a sign of defiance born from genuine conviction or of desperation, probably both. And then there is the operational picture on the ground, or rather, in the air. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth stood before cameras at the Pentagon this morning and made a declaration that should be understood in its full weight. He said that March 10, 2026, will be the most intense day of airstrikes against Iran since the campaign began on February 28th. More fighters, more bombers, more strikes, and better intelligence than any previous day of this war. He did not provide specific numbers, but reports circulating on social media throughout the morning described explosions across a wide arc of Iranian cities, including Tehran, Karaj, Isfahan, Zanjan, Tabriz, Arak, Shahinshahar, Bushehr, Bandar Lenge, and Keshem. That geographic spread suggests the targeting is not confined to a single region, but is hitting military and industrial infrastructure across the country simultaneously. Hegseth stated the objectives clearly: destroy Iran's ballistic missile stockpiles, eliminate its military production capacity, and neutralize its navy. General Kane added that the Pentagon is actively analyzing options for escorting ships through the Strait of Hormuz, which the conflict has effectively shut down for more than a week. A meeting of G7 energy ministers on this same day addressed the market crisis directly, with member nations confirming readiness to release strategic petroleum reserves to stabilize global supply. Oil prices had surged past the $100 per barrel threshold as the war escalated, though they pulled back somewhat after Trump signaled on Monday that the conflict would end very soon, without specifying a timeline. Kane noted that Iranian retaliatory strikes using drones and ballistic missiles into the Gulf region are decreasing in frequency and effectiveness. He also said U.S. forces have now struck more than 5,000 targets in the first 10 days of operations. What emerges from these three developments taken together is a picture of a war that is simultaneously intensifying militarily and approaching some kind of inflection point diplomatically. The Americans are deploying cutting-edge weapon systems for the first time in live combat. The Iranians are making death threats from the highest levels of their security apparatus while absorbing the heaviest bombardment in the country's modern history. A new supreme leader has just taken power in the middle of an active war, and no one knows yet what his decision-making will look like under this kind of pressure. Trump is publicly demanding unconditional surrender while also hinting the fighting is almost over. The Strait of Hormuz remains effectively closed, affecting global energy markets and forcing conversations among the world's largest economies. Every one of these threads is moving at the same time, and what happens in the next 48 to 72 hours will go a long way toward determining whether this conflict ends at the negotiating table or expands into something far larger. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think Iran's next move will be?